Okay, yes. So today we are talking about how may I serve, and one of the scriptures has to do with we are the body of Christ. And there's Terry, I didn't see you. We are the body of Christ, and that every member of the body is important. And so just like when we think about our physical bodies, every single aspect of our physical body is important. Every aspect of it, big or small, whatever it is, it serves a purpose. And so when we look at being the body of Christ, which is really that we are the body of God expressing, and we are that every single one of us matters. And I thought it was a fabulous meditation. I could feel that pulse going out. I could feel that web of light touching everybody and touching me. And I loved how, every single moment that we're there is important in the overall expression of life. Some of the scriptures that we're going to look at today, I thought this was a great quote. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and behold, service was joy. And I think we can agree with that. But as Luke 6:38, given it will be given to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, and oozing out. Exactly. For with the same measure that you use it, it will be measured back to you. We often look at this in conjunction with finances, but this has to do with life itself, my friend. This scripture has to do with life itself. Also, Matthew 10:44, the greatest among you will be servant. Now, I have to tell you that, initially reading and even the word servant just didn't feel really great to me, so I decided to look it up. Now, it may not feel good to you what I first say, but just stay with me for a minute, that the etymology of the word servant is to be a slave. But the word slave in the dictionary is a person entirely under the domination or influence of another person or organization. And so how this can work in a really good way for us is that as the greatest among us will be servant, that we are in service to the Christ of our being. I want to be under the influence of the Christ of my being. I want to be, dominated by the Christ of my being. And so that's a really good thing. Now we go to John 12:26. If any man serve me, let him follow me. And where I am, there shall also my servant be. If any man serve me, him will my Father honor. So if any man is serving, as we are serving the Christ in us, and we are following what we know to be, the right next thing and the right next thing, how is the best way for us to show up in the world, then, and when it says, him my Father will honor. Well, honor is really, it's bestowing something on somebody. It's a gift of bestowing something upon somebody. And so when we look at grace, the grace of God is that God always reaches further to us than we ever have to reach to God. Although we're immersed in it, that's kind of like how to visualize it. So to bring this all together, when I step into being under the influence of love, which God is love, of being love, the grace of God is that love will always reach further to me than I ever reach to it. And the grace is actually that love will increase exponentially in my experience. It will increase exponentially in me. And that can only be good, right? That can only be good. In the book, The Moses Code, they remind us to be in service to love, to peace, to joy, to goodness, compassion, beauty, connection. And that is really what we're talking about today. Whether we're serving somebody else or whatever, it's really being in service to the Christ of our being and being in service to the Christ of each other. Because sometimes it's hard for us to be in service to people when we're looking just at the outer shell. And that's why we look beyond and we connect from that Christed aspect of our beingness. Matthew 25:44 says, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. And so when did you do that for me? When you did it to the least of these, you did it to me. And so what this is saying is that, again, when we've done it for anybody else, we have increased that in ourselves. And this is what takes us right back to that first scripture, given it will be given to you. It will come down to you, pressed, shaken together. But in the moment that you are giving it, you are receiving it. In the moment that I am here to be the presence of love to you. I am here to be the presence of joy to you. I am here to be the presence of compassion, of kindness, of empathy. I am here to be the presence of oneness, of connectedness. I am here to be the presence of abundance, whatever it is. The moment that I am in service to that, I'm receiving it. It's awesome. I mean, it's just awesome when you think about it, because who doesn't want to increase those things? Anybody not want to increase those things in your life? And it's so simple, but we forget. And that's the thing about having a spiritual practice, even like coming to church on a Sunday, is to be reminded that this is of utmost importance in our experience. Researchers at Arizona State University found that humans have a tendency towards altruism. Now, that is the principle or practice of unselfish concern for or devotion to the welfare of others. And I love this song by Karen Drucker. We are all angels who only have one wing, all angels searching for each other, all angels who cannot reach the sky because we need each other to fly. And this isn't because we're dependent, it's because we're interdependent. Because nothing in nature survives alone. And we were not intended to be here alone or to do life alone. We are here to be with each other and to support each other. I just love these pictures about how important it is that we work together. I love that. If you notice, she's feeding the little ones and the duck is pickpocketing her purse. All kinds of teamwork, And then this is actually something we've done ourselves. It's been involved in Habitat for Humanity. And I think what an amazing thing it is to be able to join together and to create a place for somebody to live who would otherwise not be able to afford a house for themselves. I mean, and it is this coming together, this desire to be part of the greater reality of life. Now, the research went on to say that although evidence shows that we are wired toward altruism, that there is a choice in it always, but that when we make the choice to be in service, that wonderful things happen. And my first thought went to that the moment that a tragedy occurs, either in our personal lives, in our community, or in the world as a whole, what happens? Nothing else is important. We drop everything to rush and to be of service. And just in that, in and of itself, something wonderful is happening. In that moment that we put others' needs ahead of ours, in that moment, something greater is occurring. And I would have to believe that even in the midst of the tragedies, that when we see that happening, it increases us. It expands us, it lifts us, because what we see the true nature of humanity. Where we get so stuck in our separation, we get so stuck in all the things that I have to do in my life, and that in those moments, it's like none of it matters. None of it matters. There's not a moment in that whole experience where any of us sees each other differently. There's not a moment that we're judging each other. We are there as absolute one energy to uplift the whole. And that, to me, that is what it's absolutely about. Also, evidence has found that victims who actually reach out to help other victims don't stay in that victim consciousness very long. And that even the victims who reach out to help other victims, that they don't actually go through necessarily the process that other people may have to go through. And again, it's because it's an increasing, expanding thing to reach out and to serve, to give, to help, to uplift, to be the presence of God, And we all know the story of Bill Wilson, who started AA, and one of the key components in Bill's recovery and getting sober and staying sober was reaching out and helping other people stay sober. That is what was the key to his sobriety and has been the key to millions of people's sobriety since that time. Psychiatrist Alfred Adler said that melancholy can be cured in 14 days if you try to think every day how you can please someone and then do it. I've always heard that quote that says when you're feeling down, the best way to lift yourself up is to lift somebody else up. And it's so true. But sometimes we just have to really make ourselves get out of our stuff and do something. But the moment we do, it absolutely lifts us up. From a book called The Power of Serving Others, the author is Gary Morsch, M-O-R-S-C-H. He was a relief worker and a physician, and he just had seen so much in his experience. But he said what he would always see is people helping other people. And they were, people that didn't know each other, different tribes, different races, different, economic status, all that kind of stuff. But he said that with all of that in mind, he came to realize three things about people. Number one is that everyone has something to give. And you may not think that you have something to give, but I promise you, every single person has something to give. And that's one of the reasons I love the meditation so much, because it was those moments where we just had that impulse of love that went out from our hearts. And I could literally feel it, and I could see it just going out and connecting with the whole. Every single one of us has something to give, and it's important for us not to diminish what it is that we're giving, how we're serving, and compare it with anybody else's, because there is no greater gift. It all matters. Every single act of service matters. Number two is that most people are willing to give when they see the need and have the opportunity. Yes? Yeah. Number three, everyone can do something for someone right now. I love this by Leo Buscaglia. He says, too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, an honest compliment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. And it does. Think about some of the days when maybe you were just feeling really distraught, really low, and there was someone who came along that just touched your hand, just in an acknowledgement. Just that little act of service could change your entire day. I think about the times when I'm just maybe lost in something, and someone just takes the time just to even look me in the eyes and really see me, and see me in a way that's not just a passing glance, but they see me. And that has a potential to shift my entire day. And that's why I love that everybody has something that they can give right now. We just have to wake up and become aware of it and being that. Wasn't sure where I was going to go, but that we are actually being that presence. We are being that presence of love or whatever. I have no idea where this originated, because it was given to John Wesley, to Theodore Roosevelt, a number of people, but it's God's. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. And, Devotion has a great song, do all you can with what you have and the time you have and the place you are, do all you can. Now, I want to just put a little caution here, and I'm going to talk about this in a second. Don't overgive to where you're depleting yourself, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. It's just waking us up to being aware that we can be of service everywhere that we are. Gary Morsch goes on to say, the world, no matter how small, large, mundane, or terrifying it may appear, needs each of us to participate in it by serving others with whatever we have at this moment. Our service doesn't have to change the world. This is where we want to get out of that whole comparison thing and think, gosh, I really don't have much to give. Doesn't matter. What you give makes a difference. But everyone's world will change as we discover what Tolstoy's angel discovered, and that is, we live by loving others, and we love others by serving them. We live by loving others, and we love others by serving them. One of the things about service, about giving, and this is a big one for a lot of us, is to give without strings attached. And a big part of that is to be able to give even if you don't get an acknowledgement. And this is really where Charles Fillmore's definition of love comes in. Love loves for the sake of loving. It is not concerned with who or what it loves, nor is it concerned with the return of love. Like the sun, its joy is in the shining forth of its nature. And so as us being in service to humanity, it's really getting to that place where even if somebody doesn't acknowledge, doesn't say thank you, that we don't quit giving. Because it's really our nature to give. It is. You know, when you think of God, we are God expressing. We are expressions of God. When you think of God, God never withholds. It doesn't matter how we show up. It doesn't matter how small we make ourselves. It doesn't matter how ugly we can be in our lives. God never withholds. Ever, ever, ever. And so as us being these individuated expressions of God, we are here to give, even without thought of return. It's a big one for us, but it's an important one for us. Okay, so a few things about serving. Number one, the first place we have to go is we have to serve ourselves. And this is not a selfish thing. It can seem like a selfish thing, but it's that where you're in the plane, the air mask comes down, they say, put yours on before you put it on your child because you're not going to be of any good if you don't. And so how this can look for us is a spiritual practice. That's how we're serving ourselves. You know, it's one of the first ways to serve ourselves is what am I doing to fill this cup every day? What am I doing every day so that my tank is full? And it is taking time apart, you know, having some type of a reading that I do or something that I'm listening to, music, whatever it is that I'm filling this cup. Another aspect of this is how can I be the presence of love to myself? Where am I not showing up as that? How can I be the presence of compassion and empathy? How can I be that presence of oneness? You know, it is so important that we take care of this, because when we take care of this, we are much better now, number two, to be in service to our loved ones. Now, this is an area where I think it is easy to fall short, because as human nature is, you know, we just kind of take things for granted. And I think especially in couples, you know, whether you're partners or your spouses, whatever it is, there's that tendency, life goes on, and we don't do the things for each other like we used to do. Anybody experience that ever? You notice my husband isn't here the second service. So I'm talking about him. Not really. But I think that's just human nature. And, you know, and then, you know, think about your parents, your siblings, your children, your friends. You know, how can I be the presence of love to them today? How can I be the presence of kindness and compassion, of giving? How can I be that presence today? It is vitally important. These are some of the most important people in our lives. And so we have to look there and say, how can I be of service to you today? And again, it's not about, you know, depleting yourself. It's not what it's about. But you won't feel depleted if you do number one. And then number three is, how can I be in service to people around me, to my work environment, to my neighborhood, to my community, to the world at large, to my church community. I love this. Gary Moore says, the test is not what you can do in the aftermath of a hurricane. It's what you can do for the widow next door or the single parent on your street. Does he or she need help running errands? Does your neighbor need someone to read to her? It's not about waiting for disasters to hit. It's about not waiting and serving now. It involves an awareness and lifestyle shift that occurs when you simply look within to what is within your reach and start where you are. And you know, I would have to ask the question, I'm not asking for an answer, how many of us actually know our neighbors? Great! I had some people raise their hands. And I'm not talking about just the people on the other side of you. We have neighbors clear down our streets. And how many of us actually know them? We get so busy, we don't. But like the song said that Sean and Duncan sang, there are people in crisis all the time, and we don't know because we're not connected. And we can be there to be in loving service. We can be in loving service to our community and ultimately to our world. But today I'm going to talk to you about being in service to your spiritual community. But do remember, first is be in service to ourselves. Second, be in service to our loved ones. Third is to be in service to our community and the world at large. Okay, we are a spiritual community. A community, by definition, is a social religious group sharing common characteristics, distinct in some respect from the larger society. So we know that we have a community. There's a difference between having a community and being in community. To be in community means that it's common ownership and participation. We, my friends, at Unity of Springfield have a community in which ownership is vital and participation is critical to the overall functioning effectiveness of what we are here about. You know, I have people ask me every so often, gosh, we look at the community around us and we see these churches that are doing these great things, these churches that have all these activities and are really getting out, and they're growing exponentially. Why aren't we? And I'm going to tell you the reason why is because we don't have enough ownership and participation. When we own something that we value, we take care of it. We nurture it. We take care of it to the point that we not only want it to maintain its value, we hope it's going to increase in value. And it's time for us. It is time for Unity of Springfield to bust through these walls and to really be a living, vital presence in Springfield and the surrounding communities. And that, my friends, is how we are going to increase our value. And it's time. I think we can all feel it. We've gone through some stuff, and some of it's been painful, some of it hasn't, but we are coming together as a cohesive unit. But it takes more than what we have going on today. And we can't do that without each and every one of you. Because here's the thing, we have to go back to number one. We have to be in service to this community first in order to be a viable energy to be a presence in our community. But we've got to take care of this ministry first and get things to be a well-oiled machine here. And I want to ask each and every one of us here to really think about, how can I serve this ministry? How can I be in greater ownership of this community that I love so much? How can I participate in it so that it can become even greater and can serve more people than just what's here today? So there are many opportunities for you to be involved and in Fellowship Hall after the service today. If you are a person who loves people, if you're a person who loves connecting, maybe being a greeter or being an usher, or we would love to have somebody every week at that welcome desk that is there so that every person that comes through these doors feels seen and feels acknowledged and feels valued. That we never ever have somebody again come to me and say, when I walked through those doors, I didn't feel welcome, which we hardly ever get that anymore, but we used to. But it takes us being out there, and so you can sign up for that. If you are good with, you like to get into things outdoors, thank you, Kevin Evans, who is in service to our ministry that mows our lawn every week as his gift to the church. That's pretty awesome. But he can't do all this other stuff. So we have this grounds committee that takes care of our meditation garden and making this be a beautiful presence in our community. And you could be a part of that. Or if you're really handy and you're a fix-it person, you like to build things, get on our building committee, our building maintenance committee, because there's always things that we can improve here and things that need to be fixed. If you love children, this is one of the areas that I'm shocked at times that we don't have more people nurturing our children. We cannot even separate our children into age groups because we have to bring them all, because we don't have enough people back there. And think about this. We have the opportunity to give these young minds these principles to live their lives with. We have that opportunity to be a part of that, to be a part of shaping and molding their lives. And you don't have to volunteer every week for any of this. You can choose what is going to work in your schedule. But the thing is that if you get involved with our children, or you get involved with our uniteens, 5th, 6th, 7th graders, they're morphing, they're needing support, they're needing to be reminded of how powerful they are, how good they are, of the power that they have with their choices in their life, and then go up onto our teens. It's an amazing thing to be a part of it. We need you. We need you to step up and to say, yes, yes, I'm willing. I want to be a part of this community. I want to see these children grow and have these tools, and I want to be able to be a part of something that's greater than just myself. If you love to organize things, you love to work with food, Friendship Sunday, we could use some help, right, Jay? People who are willing to, do we love Friendship Sunday? Yes, it doesn't happen by itself. We need people who are willing to be there on a regular basis to make sure things get put out, things get cleaned up, to have this wonderful community time. We need people to help with social activities, to help with our videography back here and our PowerPoint. John would love to have some people sign up that would like to learn the sound system. We don't ever want to have holes anywhere. We don't ever want to have to make that phone call again that says, we don't have somebody for the spot. Can you fill it? We want ownership and participation. And not because it serves me or serves the board, it's because it serves us. It serves us. It serves Unity of Springfield. It serves our experience here. And it serves us as individuals as we step into that. I would love to see somebody step up and say, I will take care of community outreach. I love to get out into the community. I will take care of that. And you know what? You don't have to recreate the wheel. We will work with Council of Churches, who already has all the wheels created. We just get to hook on. And we want to be out in the community. Unity of Springfield, it's time for us to be a powerful presence. Do you agree? Yeah. Yes. We are ready. And as we get out more into the community and as we're showing up as the lights that we are, then the people who are looking for this message, we have a message, my friends, that will change the world in a positive way. And as we get out into the community, as we start creating things that draw people here, people's lives are going to change, and that means that the world is going to change. But it takes every single one of us, every single one of us. So I ask you to please consider how you can be in service to this ministry. And I ask you to sign up to be in service. And if you have ideas on things that we could do, we can't do everything, but without ideas, we don't have anything. But we encourage ideas, and we encourage people to give us ideas on how to make those ideas happen as well. But it's an amazing thing. I want to end with two things. One is a generous heart, kind speech, and a life of service and compassion are the things that renew humanity. That's the Buddha. But I love what Henry Ford has to say. Coming together is a beginning. We've been coming together. Keeping together is progress. We've been keeping together, but this is where we are going, my friends. Working together. Working together is a success. And I'm not saying we've not been a successful ministry, but by golly, we can be a whole lot more successful than we are today, right? Yes. And so join with me, join with each other, as together we are going to take this light and make it so much brighter through each and every one of us. I thank you in advance, and namaste. Namaste.